So Wall Street is often painted a picture as being complicated. The more complicated it is, the more money they can make off of you. The more complicated it seems, the more they can feel you away because they make you feel like you can't do it. One of the things I've mastered is the simplicity of being simple. So let me tell you what I mean by that, right? So y'all know I come from the street, man. Like that ain't rocket science. So let's talk about when it comes to just understanding Wall Street. So for me, I understood this. In the street, I couldn't go from selling one product to another product unless I understood the language of that product. Excuse my language. Weed, crack, heroin, it's all drugs, but the language in which they sell are different. Stocks, bonds, REITs, ETFs, they're all investments, they're all assets. The language in which you understand them is different. So let's talk about it. In the stock market, I learned this. A great stock has great management, it has a great company, it has a great product. To be a hustler, to be a good hustler, you had to have a great product. If you sold bad product, nobody wanted to deal with you, which means you'll sit on it for a long time. So you'll ultimately sell whatever or take a loss before you can get off it. On Wall Street, great products have lifetime customers. In the trenches, lifetime customers are gonna come to you no matter what. So I just always put two and two together. What happens is when things get too complicated, you tend to shy away from it. Not knowing that the knowledge is there, we just gotta be able to break it down and understand it in a way that we can digest it. The dope part about information is everybody's gonna digest it different. For me, I'ma always give it to us in the way that I feel that was digestible, in the way that I digest it, right? So if I tried to teach you something that was, rocket science, you'll be like, Trap, like I can't understand it, I ain't rocking with that. But if I told you this, put your money in the stock market, let's buy ETF. So you're gonna be like, Trap, what is the ETF? And I said this, what if you went to Walmart, right? And you wanted to buy a bag of chips, right? Check this out. You wanted to buy a bag of chips, but you didn't know what bag of chips you wanted to buy. So each bag of chips represented a stock in a bag of chip sector, right? Hear me out. But when you go into this sector, you see all of these chips, right? You see all of these chips, but you see crackers, you see popcorn, you see pretzels, right? All of these are in the chip sector. Y'all with me? That's the ETF. If I got the pretzels, that represented one stock. If I got the popcorn, that represented one stock. But those stocks are all inside of the chip sector, right? The ETF says, I'm gonna just get the whole aisle of chips. And now I got crackers, pretzels, chips, and everything else. If I tell it to you like that, then you kind of like, damn, Trap, I understand that. So ETF is something similar to that. If you wanted to buy stock in the marijuana industry and you didn't know which marijuana stock you wanted, you got the marijuana ETF. And now that marijuana ETF gave you all of the marijuana stocks. So it's all about putting things in contrast to how we can understand it, right? Let's think about this. If you hear a company say it's diluted its shares. So you're like, Trap, like, why the stock went down? Because the company diluted its shares. All right, let's take the simplistic approach. If I gave you something that was raw, it's high in value. Once I started cutting it or stretching it, at that point, it loses its value because it's not raw anymore. It's not pure. If it's not pure, oftentimes I'm gonna step away from it because I want the most purest version of the product. That's what happened with diluted shares. If a company dilutes its shares, that means they've added more shares to the original shares that was on the market. Now they probably added those shares to try to, get more money or raise more money, but they've diluted value in the stock, and that'll temporarily cause the stock to go down. Y'all with me right now? We trapping or we trapping? All right? So let's talk about something like buybacks. So you like, Trap, what is a share buyback? And I said, okay, let's take the simplistic approach, right? If I had all my work on the market, hear me out, y'all. And I feel like, you know what? There's too much work out there. They not copping it because they feel like it's flooded. And I said, okay, I'm gonna go take all my work off the market and just leave a little bit. At that point, what I've done now is increase the value of it because I've taken so much off the market. Make sense? Because now that I've taken it off the market, the value in it has now increased because it's a limited supply now. So let's say that I had 10 bottles of water. You might be like, yo, that's high in demand. I can get water on every corner. And then you say, you know what? Now there's only one bottle, one place you can get water from. That value has now increased for that type of water. Same thing with share buybacks. Company has millions of shares on the market. They feel like the shares are undervalued. The company buys back shares. They take shares off of the market. When they take shares off of the market, what that does now is cause the stock price to go up. Why does the stock price go up? Because now they've taken 1 million, 2 million, 3 million shares. They've taken them off the market and put them in their pocket. And because they put them in their pocket, that has now caused the price to go up. Are we making sense right now, y'all? It's all about saying the art of simplicity is where we win at. We don't got to make the game complicated. They've tried to do that for us already. But Wall Street looks like us now, y'all. Let's say that again. Wall Street looks like us now, y'all. And it ain't nothing that we can't put our minds to that we can't accomplish, that we can't succeed at. The reason why wealth wasn't something that we felt like we can attain because we didn't know what it felt like. We didn't know what it was like to say, how do I not work for money? How else am I gonna make money then? It's simple. I put my money in places to where my money make money for me. Now here's the thing that gets some people. You probably won't make a whole lot of money all at once. And that's the part that cripples people because we've been taught that to maximize our money, we gotta trade our time for it. But what if I told you this? What if you bought some shares of a company and the dividends from that company paid one light bill a year, right? So that's one light bill a year that you didn't have to pay. And what if for that one light bill, you took that money, so now you don't gotta pay the dividends paying it. What if you bought enough shares in that company again, so now that company paid your light bill 2 times a year? And then what if you kept repeating that cycle, so a company pays dividends 4 times? So what if now that company paid your light bill 4 times a year for you? At that point now, you can take that light bill money, put it in another stock, and let that stock now pay for something else. It's mastering the approach of being simple. Simple takes us there, maybe not as fast as we want, but it takes us there over time. One of the things I like to often say to people is this, man. You might could beat me in a 40-yard dash, yo. Like I'm 5'10 and a half, I'm 197. I ain't the fastest, but in a marathon, I'm gonna eat you alive. Because I'm not in a rush to get rich because I got the patience to build wealth, y'all. Patience is when we say, I understand it, I see the bigger picture, I see the vision, and I know I'm gonna take my time to get there. It's being patient. Oftentimes what happens is this, when the game speeds up, we try to speed up with the game. When the game speed up, you trying to speed up with the game. You know what that's gonna do? It's gonna make you make mistakes. The best thing to do is, when the game speed up, we slow down. Because if the game slows up and if the game speeds up and we slow down, we can actually now see the game for what it's worth. Because we can now see how the game is actually moving. Because if we trying to move at the same speed and pace of the game, we can't analyze the game. We can't visualize the game. That's why some athletes, they always say, yo, the game moving too fast for them. The great ones, you know what they say? Well, the game is slowed down. It ain't that the game is slowed down. He slowed down and mastered the art of the game. Mastering the art of anything means just make it simple. If we can make anything simple, then we can achieve our greatest success. If we can master the art of patience, if I could tell myself, man, listen, I didn't get here overnight, right? But I also didn't become poor overnight either. I inherited that. So how do I change it? Easy. One investment at a time. I don't gotta have 100. I take one investment at a time. One investment at a time buys my time back 1 hour at a time, 1 minute at a time. And then once I bought back my 24 hours, I help my daughter buy back hers. And then now the norm becomes to buy back your time. For every kid that's born, for every family member, it's about keeping it simple. Sometimes we overcomplicate it out of confusion, out of our lack of knowing. Let's keep it simple. Listen, man, it's your boy, the Wallstreet Trappin, man. And y'all know my goal is to help the culture build wealth one share at a time, man. Big trap, man. Trap with me.